The loss of Bakhmut is most likely a foregone conclusion. Ukrainian troops will not carry out a massive retreat from Bakhmut, but will withdraw gradually. Although the situation in the city is difficult, the Ukrainians are still fighting. The good news is that the Konstantinovka-Bakhmut road is completely controlled by Ukrainian troops at the moment. All the reports, especially a call by Prigozhin 3 days ago to flee from Bakhmut or to surrender Bakhmut as it was allegedly to be encircled, are fake news. According to the United States Institute for the Study of War, holding Bakhmut makes sense as the Russians are suffering significant losses in this sector despite the Ukrainians being outnumbered. The gradual retreat is a strategy that the Ukrainians successfully employed last year in Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. At that time, Russian forces suffered significant losses in offensive street fighting. If we withdraw from Bakhmut, we will go down in history as the people who are responsible for losing the war. My soldiers often ask, Director, is it possible that the delays in ammunition deliveries are intentional? Were they planned at the Defense Ministry or even higher up to justify to the Russian public the failures at the front? What if they want to frame us and put the responsibility for the failures on us, and that's why they don't give us ammunition, weapons, and the ability to recruit prison inmates? The Russian occupation authorities are constantly indoctrinating civilians. According to information provided by Russian media, so far 5 million civilians have been deported to Russia. According to the authorities in Kiev, this is a deliberate effort to break up patriotic foci. The ideology of the so-called Great Russia is also to be instilled in the minds of the youngest. More than 16,000 children have been deported deep into Russia. Russia's point is exactly this. This is a tradition that goes back centuries and is a tradition that is condemnable. Putin is concerned about Russian demographics, and one idea is simply kidnapping or abducting citizens, especially Ukrainian children from various territories. The Sun portal has revealed documents of the Russian security services. They show that President Vladimir Putin, in addition to the rapid seizure of Ukraine, also expected NATO to disintegrate and destabilize the political situation in Europe. Alliance members were expected to yield in the face of nuclear threats. After a year of war, Kiev has modern weapons coming from the West. Meanwhile, the Kremlin still believes in victory and is counting on a military alliance with Belarus. Lukashenko maneuvers because, for one thing, he knows it wouldn't do Belarus any good except for human and image losses. Besides, it would turn out that the entry of the Belarusian army into the military operation in Ukraine is unable to determine the fate of the war. That is, to say the least, a minor incident. In other words, it makes no sense at all for Belarus. According to Deputy Foreign Minister Piotr Wawryk, currently Russia's only weapon is disinformation, so the Kremlin will not give up nuclear blackmail. Vladimir Putin may also wish to destabilize the political situation in Moldova. No one doubts that these protests, which are in Chisinau at the moment, are directly inspired by the Russians, even, as some media report, with the participation of Russian agents, officers, and representatives of the Russian secret services. Their aim is to provoke unrest, to aggravate the internal situation so as to allow this attack to potentially turn into open aggression. Russia's information war has been continuing since 2014, targeting mainly Central and Eastern European countries. As experts note, the Kremlin is seeking to change public sentiment in order to reduce support for aid to Ukraine.